folks, you joined me and Mason, the MT10 here, a speed car that we're trying to get above 100 miles an hour, and we're surrounded by motors. You see, the first thing we had in was this, not the stock motor anyway. It's a Hobbywing Max 10 and a 3665 motor, which I think was 3000 kV, so a bit less than the standard Reedy one, which was 3300. But we didn't do too bad with that, but we're quite clearly going to run out of power to get the speed we want. So that went, and we went with our Hebeo 6S motor and the Surpass ESC, which I'm sure, as you remember, all went up in smoke. So we've ended up putting a Max 6 ESC in there. Holds the power beautifully, doesn't get hot at all, has been performing really well. But I think the motor is going to be the limiting factor now. So our Hebeo has been robbed again. We've got the Max 8 ESC out of the Hebeo Hyper VSE, a Hobbywing 4278 motor in there. We've got some little cooling fans on there, and inside of it there we have a 35 tooth pinion, because the 40 tooth pinion didn't end well. So I know now with this motor and this gearing, this car theoretically can do 103 miles an hour. How do I know that, I hear you ask? Well, I'll show you. Because I've created this little spreadsheet. You have the motor numbers, the battery figures, the gearing of your car, and the wheel diameter, all of which you can enter. I thought I'd be smart and put some drop-down menus in there, but it actually makes it a little bit more difficult because you've got to physically put the numbers in to start with. But hey-ho, right, so if you remember, the fastest we had with the 30 tooth pinion and the 50 tooth spur in Mason was 78 miles an hour. And coincidentally, the exact number the theory says is the maximum possible for this gearing was 78 miles an hour. So objective achieved with that. Could not get a single more mile an hour out of it. I now have, as I say, a 35 tooth pinion in there with the same spur. So if nothing else changed, theoretically that should get me 91. Again, following videos that you may have seen, if you haven't, do go back and have a look. I didn't hit that. No. The best I could actually manage was another 78, and the motor was getting quite hot. And with the 40 tooth on there, these were our numbers. This is what we were hoping for. With the Hobbywing motor, which is 2000 kV, fully charged 6S batteries, and like I say, I can change this to a number of cells, and I can change it to the nominal value, which is 11.1 volts for each of the 3 cell batteries, so 22 volts, but fully charged you get 25.2. so that was gonna be the gearing and everything to get us the speed we want. But as I say, I think the motor is the limiting factor. On this spreadsheet though, like I say, you can put in pretty much whatever numbers you want, and wheel sizes, just changing wheel sizes. I've got some down here. Some short course wheels would give me 124mm diameter. That would push the speed way up, but the rotating mass of bigger wheels and tyres is not good. I have just measured the wheels and tyres that are on there. I had them at 102 originally. I have remeasured them. It is 98 diameter. So that's the number, and it makes our other numbers match as well. So I know this table works. So I said 103 was our maximum, because I said I have now a 35 tooth pinion in there with the same 50 tooth spur, but the hobby wing motor can run at 2250 RPM, no, kV. So with full batteries, 103 miles an hour. You might wonder what the HV there is. You can get high voltage batteries where they are, instead of the conventional 4.2 volts fully charged, they are 4.35. And if I just put that in, that gives us some extra voltage and some extra more speed. But the ones I'm running are not. They are conventional 11.2 volts, so 3.7 volt per cell batteries, with a top charge of 4.2 volts when they are good and new. But it's so, as it stands, I do digress and waffle on a bit, I know. With the hobby winging and the 35 tooth pinion that we've got, I do have another 40 tooth coming, which will give us a little bit more room. But I have 35, 103. Now, hobby wing combo packages typically have turbo timing, they call it. You can overclock the motor, which generally gives you, and if you saw, I think it was exactly my last video, 20% more speed out of the motor than stock. So if I put the turbo onto max, that would also give me a lot more speed. However, there is a caveat. It says in the instructions for this motor that the max RPM on 6S is 2400 kV. So the turbo is not going to matter. It is either going to be at 2250, or if I turn the turbo up to the max, I will still only get 2400. But it is a few more miles per hour in our pocket to try and help us get beyond that 100 miles an hour. So, after showing you my little spreadsheet there, if you direct message us at an email address I will put on the screen, I can forward this on to you. As I say, you can change your drive gear and your ring gear sizes to whatever matches. You will need to put all these in for your car to get the right speed numbers out. But what it can obviously help you do, if you've got an idea of a speed that you want, the things that you can't change, put in, the ring gear, drive gear, sun gear, planetary gears, are quite tricky to change on most cars. The pinion and the spur, there are options of the pinion. Definitely got a massive choice with that. You can change the amount of batteries. I mean, the Max 6 ESC gives us the option to go 8S. I don't know what motor I can possibly put in. I think a 1650 is about all I can put in with that. But that would have turbo timing. So, it's, you get more power out of it having some more batteries. But it's also going to be more weight, which I haven't took into account. So we're kind of sat around there, 103. And again, I have digressed. If you would like a copy of this spreadsheet, direct message us. I'll see if I can just ping it over to you. Or if you got a number you sort of want, let us know in the comments. We'll try and work out what your theoretical maximum speed is for your cars. And sit tight now for our next trip out. Because with all of this trickery in there, we definitely have the option and the ability, theoretically, to hit 100 miles an hour with this MT10, the most unlikely car of our collection possible, to try and get this sort of speed. But it was being done to show you how easy it is to do. Hasn't proved to be the case, but with it being cold and wet and wintry out there, speed runs are going to be a thing of the past for a few months here in the UK. I desperately want to get Mason back, stood up on its long suspension, with its knobbly tyres on there, splashing about in the mud, flying over skate parks. So we've got to hit the number, and we've got to do it soon. Let us know in the comments whether you think it's actually going to happen, or whether we're going to have a disastrous smoky mess sitting at the end of the road. Thank you very much for watching. Whatever you do, folks, do stay safe, take care, peace, everybody.